Where am I looking this morning? Over there, I'm looking at you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this week's Monday Motivation, which was originally started in 2008. Yes, 12 years ago. However, it's evolved over the years. So Monday Motivation was really designed because sometimes Mondays just got a really bad reputation. And I watched as work colleagues at the time. I was a senior manager in financial services, and I watched as colleagues would dread Monday, fear Sunday evenings, go into work and have a way that they almost seemed to push themselves into their week, which was fine once they got there, fine once they were motivated, and fine once they were excited. But over the years, Monday Motivation has evolved into what this is today. And what is this today? This is year four and a bit now of doing these Monday Motivations as a Facebook Live. So thank you to all of you that show up live, just like Faye and just like Ivona, who are saying hello. Thank you for those of you who watch in the background. I know some of you are shy, some of you feel really like too visible putting yourself out there, and I thank you for watching. I also thank you for those of you who share these week after week. It blesses me, it blesses so many people, and it causes a big ripple effect. Sometimes you don't even realise that just by hitting that share button, how somebody might need to hear one of the messages that either I share or that you share on that recording. So, do keep your comments going, do keep your your questions, and do keep sharing. I adore you for doing that, and I thank you, because without you doing that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have anybody watching my videos, which becomes a fear of people. So before we go on, I can't not say hello to all of you. So I've said hello to Ivona, who I know is in London, Faye, who I know is in Manchester. We've got Charlie on. Thank you so much. And Charlie saying happy Monday Motivation to everyone. Charlie sent me the most gorgeous message this morning. Thank you, Charlie. I have responded to it now. Thank you for that. It was lovely. And we have the lovely Kim, who says hello. And Kim is watching from, I hope, a sunny Australia, Kim. So Kim's in our future. It's from, if memory serves, it'll be about 4:30, 5:30, 3:30, depending on which zone in Australia. But yeah, she's in her Monday afternoon. She's already rocked her Monday. So thank you for bringing your good Monday vibes here as well. And thank you to those of you who I know will be watching this on the replay. Sometimes you let me know, sometimes that you don't, and all of that is fine. I love the insights that you all share. So the motivation to show up and be visible is today's theme. Now, before I start, I'm not even going to apologise for this. I am excited beyond belief, because this week is the online version of Visibility Made Easy. And not only is it going to be delivered live by me and online, it's also going to be 3 days. 3 days where you will be getting information nuggets so you can stand out and be more visible. You will be having space and time to actually implement some of those nuggets that you're learning. And you will also boost your visibility and your credibility. And in fact, although this has really been designed mainly for business owners, some of my clients are employees. They've been promoted through some of this stuff that I share. Some of them have been able to successfully put their goals out there. Some of them have even been able to successfully change jobs or change careers. And that might not sound like a huge thing, but when you're working in an environment that just doesn't feel great, I already said at the beginning of this video how these Monday Motivations started. We don't always have somebody in our ear to give us a great pep talk, to motivate us, to say, you know what, you're going to be okay, or anything else like that. Sometimes people say and do the opposite. So there you go, either to work or show up in your business, and you have concerns, fears, worries about how you're being received, how your work's being, taken in, how you're being judged. And that is why we are doing motivation, or the motivation to show up and be visible. So here's the thing, and I will read, I've seen a whole load of things up face going whoop whoop. I wasn't going to do that, but I just had to. There's a little bit of my excitement leaking out. Oh, Charlie's asking, how's everyone doing the lights that float up? So, if you're watching this on a computer, I don't know how easy it is to do if you're on a phone. So if you hit the like button or hit any of the emotions below, you've got like, you've got the, my favourite one, the love button, you've got the ha 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 button, and you've got the one that looks like this. That's the wow button. We've got the angry button as well. Not many people hit the angry button, but if you tap it on your phone, every time you tap it, it will float up. And as nicely demonstrated by, I think that's Faye there, it was a laughter emoji. Was that the face? Word to the wise, for those of you that want to be more visible, especially on Facebook Lives, anything you do that's extreme like that, I guarantee the thumbnail at the end of the video will be your most flattering face. Okay, so if you've got stuff about how you look out there, you might not want to pull those funny faces. But after doing over 3,000 lives and thousands of videos and going through my own barriers to being visible on video and on camera over the years, now, quite frankly, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. So thank you to Faye, who is helping with that as well. And she's, Faye's just letting Charlie know how to do that. So hopefully you can do that and play along. So today, the motivation to show up and be visible. Now, funnily enough, because I am in live event mode, I've got all my worksheets and bits and pieces here, which all the lovely delegates will be getting. Just so that you know, on Facebook Live, unless I set my camera the other way around, and I'll talk about the importance of doing that during the event, for those of you that come in, so thank you. I'll talk about why that helps you to be visible, why it matters, and when to do it when it really matters. But you'll see this likely in mirror form. In this diagram holds the massive key to the big why. Not my big why, but your big why. Because when showing up matters, and it really does matter, as one of my mentors always says, showing up matters. But when showing up and being visible matters, whether you're doing that at work, whether you're doing it in your business, whether you've got a combination of both, so you've kind of got a side hustle, and there are some people that run a business and they work as well. It's the way that they choose to live their life. So it's not always that they're doing it as a side hustle either. What's that? Sorry, I read the question wrong, rookie error. No, I think you read it correctly, I think. Anyway, so this is a really important part of why. And Simon Sinek, in his very famous TED Talk and very famous book, says start with why. This is the why to the visibility vibe system, which is really the, I call it an activating or ability activating system. And the reason that I call it that is because I believe that the body of work that I've pulled together over the last decade isn't me making you visible, isn't me doing all the work so that you are visible. It's actually me kind of just dropping in your zone of brilliance and your zones of genius that you already have, and almost acting like a catalyst. So imagine that I've come out of a pipette. Someone's just squeezed a little drop of Jenny in what you already have and what you already do, and it opens up and becomes like an amazing ripple effect. Okay, so one of the things that I for years talked about was the 5 steps to being more visible, ways that you can get yourself out there while you're making an impact, while you're able to share the stories that feel relevant to your audience, whether you're an employee actually or not, and also how to be able to do it all, most importantly without burnout, without all the overwhelm normally associated with raising your profile and putting yourself out there. And then once you've really kind of nailed the way for you to do that, that's when speaking, whether it's public speaking, speaking online, virtual speaking about what you do, it is important. But even more important, for those of you that are looking for the promotions, that are looking for the pay rise, that have got your cart closing soon, it's really, really important that you know how to sell not just your products and your services. That's a given when you've got a business. And it's a given when you are selling in someone else's business. If you're a sales professional, I work with lots of sales professionals to help them sell their company's products and service. But one of the things that people often forget is about selling themselves. So how do you get motivated, especially if you've been going through a slump or a dry patch or a bad patch, or there somehow is this global pandemic that hits every corner of the earth, and all of a sudden you find that when you're putting yourself out there, you're receiving judgment, not from random strangers, but from people you know, family members, friends. It could be work colleagues, acquaintances. You are worried about being judged by them. You're worried about what they might say. You're worried that they might misconstrue your intent. How do you get past that? How do you move through that? How do you get over that? Especially if they're quite vocal. When I trained with a really great mentor of mine, John Seymour, he used to say, when it comes to pushing buttons, our families can sometimes push our buttons. And he said something like, the reason that they can push our buttons is because they created them. Breathe that in for a minute, think about this. You grow up in an environment of people that take care of you. They want the best for you. And in wanting the best for you, they'll often tell you from a small child, oh, don't touch that, it's hot. Oh, don't stand over there, you might fall. Be careful, don't do that. All coming from a well-meaning place. Until you go out in the world, you go to a job interview maybe, or you decide you're going to do a video, a Facebook Live, run an online course, start to promote your products and services. And somewhere those well-meaning messages of safety come back as a, don't do that, it's not safe, you'll get burnt, be careful. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. No, I wouldn't have said that if I were you. Think about your Aunt Mary. Oh, that was a bit embarrassing, wasn't it? Why are you doing that, putting yourself out there online? And all of a sudden, those internalised, well-meaning, let's look after you messages show up as judgments. They show up as reasons why we can't do something. So there are three parts, as you can see, to this. There's the A, the B, the C. And actually, I didn't even make that up. I didn't say, oh, A, B, C, what can we do? I was looking at the things like the stumbling blocks that get in our path, that get in the road and stop us from showing up and stop us from being visible, sometimes in the way that we want to. And ultimately, there are three areas of our business. As I say, I will be going into this more deeply in the event, not because I'm trying to starve you with information, but unless you want to be on a Facebook Live for the next 8 hours or so while I really dive into the differences between the three and the importance of it, then I'll spare you that, and I'll give you a nugget that I hope will motivate you today. So the ABC, there's three different things. There's the audience. When we are choosing to show up and be visible, our audience could be literally potential clients, current clients, past clients. And one of the things that doesn't get talked about often publicly in business are all of those juicy, yummy past clients that we kind of don't want to let them go. We want to hug them, squeeze them, have them in our arsenal every time we go out there and show the world, because they're so juicy. But the thing that doesn't get spoken about is, what about the one or two clients? In the 10 years that I've done this, I had one client, and I always remember this, because after I licked my wounds, I remember thinking, gosh, this actually hasn't happened to me before, and touch wood, hasn't happened since. Having a beautiful working relationship with a client, and then halfway through the work, they flipped out, really flipped out. They were triggered by something that was going on with them personally, and they freaked out. They flipped out at me, and they completely kind of lost their stuff, And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what have I done? What did I say? What happened? And it took some deconstructing to work out what happened. But an experience like that, or an experience where you work with a client that's like, yeah, it's okay, yeah, can be enough to stop you from wanting to show up and be visible. So the three areas here that I'll be going deeper in, and perhaps maybe next week I'll do, maybe the motivation to show up and be visible on B. So A is your audience. Could be your work colleagues, it could be your boss, it could be your potential clients, current clients, past clients, or anything else like that. But it's your audience. And if you've got a business, you will want to be growing that audience. And here's the thing, this is not about vanity and having the biggest numbers and things like that. This page will show that this page doesn't necessarily have the biggest followers. But the thing I love about my my followers, makes me sound like Jesus or something, but the thing I love about the people who follow my work and follow my videos is that they're independent. They know what they want. They're not sheep that have to be told what to do. They are actually more confident sometimes than they know themselves, or that they think themselves, but they maybe are looking for the confidence to do something in a specific area. They normally are polymaths, and by that, whether you're an employed person or someone that runs their business, usually it means that you've got an interest in teaching or sharing more than one topic. And usually in your head, you're sitting there going, how do I mix this with this? Let me give you a couple of examples, maybe of even the people that are watching. I'm going to talk about Faye, okay? So don't all run off and think, oh my gosh, you know. So Faye is an amazing makeup artist. She also, to her, is really important about people feeling good, not just by the makeup that is put on their face, but how they feel inside. She wants them to be able to face every day and feel good about themselves, regardless of whether they've got the makeup on or not. And also, if there wasn't a pandemic on right now, she would also, she's a professional massager. She's able to make you physically feel great and feel relaxed. And she's got a really amazing brainiac background. She's got a big brain. Imagine when you go to put yourself out there. That might not sound like, oh, well, what's the problem with that? You go to put yourself out there and you've got all of these things, and it's like, well, how do I bring them together so they make sense, so that the rellies aren't saying, what on earth are you talking about? So that the potential clients aren't going, I'm confused, which bit is the bit that you do? Or, as I've had said to me, just before I started my business, oh, you can't go into business and do that, and that, because you can only really be good at one. You can't be good at all of them, you know? So that often brings a problem in how we put it together, and how we put ourselves out there. So our audience is really important. But then the B stands for the business. The business we're either in, if we're an employee, or the business model. And I will do another Facebook Live on this at a later stage. And then the C is actually the credibility. Because as you can see, when you've got your A, B and C sorted out, it gives you the visibility sweet spot. Now, at any given time, we might hop between one or another. So if we decide we're going to expand or create a new offering, then the A, the audience, is the bit that we might expand on. If you decide that you want to be promoted at work, all of a sudden, whether you're looking for promotion within the same department or looking for more senior promotion, that audience will change. Your focus then becomes less on your colleagues, and I don't mean start trashing your colleagues and slating them, but the focus then for that promotion, the groundwork, needs to then be the people around you. It could be the boss, it could be HR, it could be a mixture of all of them. And in fact, a few years ago, I helped a client get what we jokingly call a five-figure Friday, where they got £15,000. This was in the UK, £15,000 pay rise. Yes, £15,000, not a grandfathered appraisal where they were offered 1% or something like that. So this stuff works. I know it works. I know it works for me, but I needed to make sure that it works in lots of different spaces, in lots of different places for different people, before I started wheeling it out there and saying, well, do this stuff, do this work. And that's what happened in 2012. I've got so many stories to share, and some of you watching this, either live on the replay, will have your own stories of how some of the pieces of the 5-step system have been able to help you to activate your ability to be more visible. Anyway, I am going to read a couple of the comments that I've missed. We've got Sharon Rooney that says, wow, because I've been flapping my gums for so long, I'm not sure which bit you said wow to, but thank you anyway, because, I love it that you all interact. Faye said, one of the best recommendations was given by a client who literally said, yeah, thanks, when I did her makeup and left. This is the thing, you see, we might be led to believe that when we are putting ourselves out there and we're showing up and being visible, that it comes in the form of some perfect thing. That, all of a sudden another new 100 people are going to like your Instagram profile, your Facebook page, are going to connect with you on Twitter. You're going to get recommendations thrown at you left, right and centre. And to be honest, a lot of the testimonials and recommendations that I share with you on here and on Instagram and even actually on LinkedIn are not ones that I've asked for. In fact, there's something that happens if you go and ask for testimonials and you position it incorrectly, which kind of falls into this credibility part, mainly the credibility part, a little bit of the audience, but the credibility part. If you go and ask for them in the incorrect way, you end up getting some really nice words back, but they don't always serve the audience that you want them to serve. Here's why. I've had people send me a video and go, oh my gosh, Jenny, I mean, let me just think of a few off the top of my head. One of the early ones was actually a text message, not a video. And they said, oh my gosh, Jenny, we had that conversation on Tuesday. I've just sold 3 packages and they're worth $8,000. Never done that before. Oh my gosh. There's a certain few steps that you need to follow to be able to harness that, if that's going to be a testimonial. But I guarantee if I'd gone back to the person and said, oh my gosh, that's amazing, can you give me a testimonial? The wording comes out very differently. And this is what I go into in the credibility piece. My intent for anybody, when they read those testimonials, is that they can see themselves in that testimonial. They can put their work. So when I talk about helping a client get a 5-figure Friday or £15,000 pay rise, this is not for you to think, oh, Jenny's really excellent and I should work with her. This is for you to think, wow, if that happened for them, I wonder if that could happen for me. What would I have to do? How would I have to be? How would I have to show up at work? You know, does Jenny do sessions where she can help me walk through what I would have to do because my industry is different or my business is different, which is, again, something I hear a lot. Or I do all of these things. So that's just like by way of example of how that is. So when Faye tells us that one of her best recommendations, the person literally said, yeah, thanks. That is a good thing, you know, because there's a story behind it. Anyway, let me give you a quick couple of bits and pieces to kind of motivate you to go out and be visible, specifically when you're looking at your audience. So the motivation to show up and be visible, here's what I would say. If you were sat with me one-on-one, let's just pretend for a second, it's just you and me on a private Zoom call, as I often do, you know, we're having a session and you're like, Jenny, what would you do if you know you want to be motivated, but I've got so much going on at the moment, you know, I've got a lot of family stuff going on, there's this pandemic that you might not have heard about going on. Yes, I've had that said to me. You know, what would you do? The first thing I would get you to do is connect back into your why. Like, why are you doing this? Why is this work important? And here's the reason why I start with the why. Not because Simon Sinek said to do it. I hear so many businesses and business people say, my name's Jenny Kovacs and I'm passionate about helping people to be visible, to show up, so that they can have their clients find them, so that they can get to do the work they love, so that they can do good in the world and make a difference. And these people tell me how passionate they are about the stuff they do. And then the minute they're asked to do something that feels a bit uncomfortable, like post every day or be consistent, or charge what you're worth, or make the sort of impact that has that person, like their life is different, the transformation for them is different. The minute that they're asked to do that, it feels uncomfortable. Of course it does. You know, doing a Facebook Live at 7:30 in the morning when I haven't got any makeup on, haven't washed my face, there's a bit of my hair that's deciding that it wants to stay in a little lumpy bit at the side. You know, the light is coming in a funny angle, so I've got a half light and half dark face. This is not the easiest of decisions for me to make. What if it ruins my credibility? What if somebody watches it and goes, oh my gosh, I could never work with her. She speaks too quickly. Her hair doesn't look good. And, you know, she just waves her arms about too much. She doesn't sit and talk like this. All those things will go through my mind, but they won't stop me, and they shouldn't stop you either. So starting with my why is that if anything that I have said in this live gives you the courage, gives you the confidence, gives you the get up and go, to go out and pick up the phone, send that email, do that video, create your own Facebook Live, share what you do with just one person, my job's done. if I think about how I could look, sound, what people could say, I wouldn't do it. You know, if you don't believe me, take a look at my Instagram account or this account where I post a picture of my breakfast at the weekend. People had plenty to say about that, but it's not going to stop me, you know? So that's the first thing. Start with why. This is why I've drunk so much water. Frog in my throat or what? So start with your why. Really, generally, don't let it be a title of a book or a TED Talk or what Simon Sinek says. Really start with why you're doing this. When you go into work, there'll be a reason why you're doing the job that you do, even if it feels really rubbish at the moment, even if the boss has been an absolute you-know-what to you, there'll be a reason why you wanted to do the job. Get connected with that. Honestly, it's the piece of advice that I would give you. You and I, one-on-one, face-to-face. So start with that. And then when you're really clear on that, for those of you that are kind of more introverted and more kind of journally types, or just introverted and you don't like putting your stuff out there, write this down. Just freehand, set the timer, write it down. Just write down what's so juicy about it, what you love about it, why you love it, how it makes you feel, how it benefits other people. And then the second thing that I would say is if you want to get motivated to really show up and put yourself out there and be visible, the next thing would be, now you've got that clearer picture and that clearer idea, like, think about them, not you. The fuzzy hair, the fast talk, the wavy about hands, the funny face that will definitely be on the thumbnail isn't what's important. But what is important is them. People are losing sleep. People are losing clients. People are losing confidence in themselves. People are losing faith in their abilities. People are putting their power into what they're being told to do or told not what to do. People are sometimes losing themselves. And take Ivona on here, who's a relationship specialist. People are scared to go out and date because of maybe a past relationship. Ivona's like expert at helping those people get ready. And if Ivona hides and doesn't stand out, then what happens is somebody sits there for another month, year, few years, and they either will not go into their next relationship because they don't feel that it's safe to, or they'll go into the wrong relationship for them because they don't know how to protect themselves. They will go into a relationship which, quite frankly, they could wake up one day and say, oh, that's funny, I've been with this person for X amount of years and they're just like my ex. And this has real life consequences. So when you focus on them and what they need, that will motivate you for sure. Like, no magic pills, that will motivate you for sure. So let's have a look at some of these comments. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Kim. She says your motivation is amazing. And I love to spread the love when it comes to motivation. I want you to all start, the beginning of your week, maybe for Kim because she's in Australia, at the end of her day, but like something that she can be like going, yes, this is what I want. So thank you. Charlie said, I love that. People will judge you no matter what, so you might as well do it. Do what you want. This is true. People will always be judging you. Some will be vocal about it and some won't. Some will be close to you and some won't. And, trust me, when a random stranger tells me my hair looks funny, I don't really care. When my best friend or somebody who I love, tells me my hair looks funny, I might take that a bit more to heart. But it's not going to stop me from putting myself out there. So Kim said it would be great to be free of worry about what others think. I think it would be an incredible feeling. And you know what? It is totally possible. I think that the place to move to isn't necessarily to be completely free of it. It's to know that it's there and not let it stop you. I'm not going to say not let it affect you, because I think if it doesn't ever affect you, then that's like the other end of the spectrum, like there's something not quite right. But knowing that people are judging, and let's be honest, it's not always in a bad way. You've got to remember this too. People are always forming opinions. People are always putting in their opinion. The reason that they judge might not always be bad. Does that need if you want me to say any more about that, then give me a thumbs up or a love heart, because it feels like quite significant. I see a few of you have liked what Kim said, so while I'm on live, I might as well talk a little bit about that. Very recently, well actually, let's go back. In February this year, I spoke to a lady who did some coaching around money mindset, let's call it. I think that's probably the best way to put it, around money mindset. I had a few sessions with her, and as I went through, she helped me to identify something called my money archetype, like how I am with money, what I do, that kind of thing. And when I sort of like applied it to what was going on in my life, I could see its value. And it was almost like I had to process it on some level. For me, this session wasn't about me thinking it through and step by step by step. It's almost like I had to absorb it by osmosis and let the juice of it come out. So this was in February, and I said, yeah, I'll definitely give you a testimonial. And I was thinking, I want to be able to do her justice and give her a testimonial. So I just kind of like let this go around my head, and then the pandemic hit and all sorts of things happened. And it was still in the back of my mind, must give her a testimonial, must give her a testimonial. Until about 2 or 3 weeks ago, so now in July, she's done the work on the 2nd month of the year. And July, 5 months later, I'm like, right, I need to give a testimonial. I now know what that piece of work did, and I now know what I can say to help that person. Now, it doesn't normally take me 5 months to do something. I was distracted and kept meaning to. And it was interesting that when I then gave them the testimonial, they said, oh, thank you for that. You know, sometimes your mind plays tricks with you. You think to yourself, oh, well, maybe she didn't like the work and she didn't want to say, and blah, blah, blah. And everything that came out was really negative. And I don't mean negative in a poo-poo, she shouldn't have said it. It was like, oh, maybe it didn't work for you, maybe it wasn't good, maybe, you know, it was all things that there was an assumption that it just wasn't any good, and that's why the testimony didn't come out, and that wasn't the truth. So sometimes when somebody doesn't say something to us professionally, or does say something to us professionally, unless they're very explicit as to what that is, as human beings, we will naturally assume the worst. We will. You know, whether we're optimistic as a person or not, we will assume the worst. And this is what I see a lot of what we do professionally. We spend so much time doing our work, you know, so many hours of the day at work. We will sometimes assume the worst. You know, I have always been one that when I've been in a position where I've managed people, if I see their excellence, I'll be like, oh my gosh, we need more of it. And I recognise that not every manager's like me. Some managers will quietly sit back and say, this person's excellent. Let me see how they go and how they flourish. The person, on the other hand, is going, oh my gosh, my boss didn't say anything about that. I must be terrible. Maybe I need to do this, more of this, and maybe I need to do more of that. So we can then create and build something that actually isn't true, but we think or we believe it to be true. So don't always take the silence of the people around you for you doing the wrong thing or being the wrong thing. Because what can happen is, in that gap of silence, we can be so in our heads about doing the wrong thing that we could rock up and say, oh my gosh, you know, oh my gosh, I didn't do it well, blah, blah, blah. And that's not the case. I've sat in lots of board meetings with directors and senior leaders, senior managers of a company who have spotted talent within their teams. They likely haven't said anything to the talent within their team, but they're saying, oh, we need to do something to harness this. And they're already fighting the battle for them to be promoted or for them to show up, and the person doesn't even know about it. And they're blissfully aware, and I've worked in companies where I've sat in the boardroom and seen and heard this, and then as I've kind of walked the floor, heard the person saying, you know, I'm not really valued here, maybe I need to move on. I'm like, there's a gap, and the gap is the feedback loop. So what can you do to rather listen to the internal noise that tells us, oh, this isn't great, this isn't good? What can you do instead to communicate that? And I always do this like a figure of 8, you know, the infinity sign. What can you do to get that feedback, to keep it flowing 2 ways, so that you can keep a check of where you are? That will reduce your anxiety by a gazillion trillion %. But that will only happen if you put yourself out there and show up. And actually, Kim, I know I'm talking about the event this week. Can you, I'm going to send you a message. Just send me a message to this page, because I'm going to send you a message about this week too. Because something that you might like to hear. I think it'll be quite juicy. Anyway, so hopefully that starts to answer that question. Yeah, so you will never be free of worry, and I'd be a liar if I said, yeah, you know, I can do some technique with you and you'll be free and it'll never cross your mind again. It will always float through your mind, but it will do just that. It will float through, float past, and you'll kind of park it somewhere for something better that serves you and feels better. Ivona's saying, thanks for the mention. Strange things happen with me, with my icons and the comments. Some inappropriate ones being floated up. Anyone else had this? Hey, Ivona, what if it was like the equivalent of, you know, like Zoom bombing, when you're on a Zoom call and people randomly turned up? What if it was like a emoji bombing on Facebook? I don't know what that's about, actually. I've done it where I've tapped so rigorously on the love, 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 and I've gone like this, love, 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 and it's gone further down. I'm on the laughing, and then I'm on the angry, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I didn't mean that. That's normally why that happens to me. I get overly excited. Charlie says, I'm still trying to get used to it, so I'm sure I'm pressing the wrong buttons. You know, don't worry about it. I just want to make sure that you guys are motivated and taken care of this Monday. Kim's saying, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And Ivona's talking about, how to do it if you're using a phone. Yes. So I'll leave you to have that discussion. But anyway, this is this week's Monday Motivation. Hopefully the motivation to have you showing up. Has any of this made you feel a little bit more motivated? If it has, you know, do leave a love heart, a comment, or anything else like that. If you want to be a little bit more discreet, I do have a Facebook group here called the Visibility Vibes Tribe, and the reason why I do that, it's a private group, which means that you can go in there and you can share concerns, questions, light bulb moments, oh my gosh, what would you do if, that kind of stuff. And it's away from your normal Facebook feed. So if you're worried about what Aunt Mary might be saying about what you're sharing and posting, don't worry. In the group, the only people that see it are the other Vibers in the group. And they're a really juicy bunch. Ivona's in there, I know. Faye's in there as well. We've got a lot of really juicy people in there. So do share. Think about which one piece can I take from this today to take into my week. Don't try and eat it all. It will give you indigestion. But think of like one thing that you can take on that will help motivate you today. What reminders will you give yourself as to why you do a thing? You know, who is it about, how you can add value and stuff like that. So I love that you've shown up. I love that you've been really interactive. Thank you so much. I'm beyond excited. For the next 3 days, I'd like to say that it'll probably be quiet on my social media, but I know it won't. By the way, for those of you that are coming, you'll know that I'm not going to be going, look, Faye's just asked this question and look at this, or look at how much money this person's made. That's not my style. But what I will do is I will try on the breaks to share something from the theme of what we're going to. I'm going to respect the people that have said yes and jumped in, and obviously give them the juice for taking 3 days out of their diary. Thank you so much. And, you know, choosing to spend time, not necessarily just with me, but with the other juicy businesses to make their visibility so much easier. So my focus will be on them. But I will, you know, I will still be showing up on social media in the break times, in little moments, while trying to preserve my voice too. I am beyond excited for all of you watching, whether you made it into Visibility Made Easy or not. Go forth, be awesome, be seen, be heard, and most of all, be visible. The world needs you and your ripple effect. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing. Bye for now.